So many Star Wars games, so many memories. From 1997, when the original films were re-released in theaters, to 2005, when the last prequel film came out, LucasArts put out so many Star Wars titles it was practically its own genre. From first-person shooters to RPGs to third-person action-adventure to R-Wing strafers to movie tie-ins, let's just say we were starting to see orchestral opening title scrolls in our sleep. With every market niche tapped, a racer was as common sense as not including event port on your otherwise indestructible battle station. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer was the product of that reasoning, and save for a few kinks, it's still a pretty awesome game. Obviously following the chariot-inspired pod races in The Phantom Menace, the game gives you an assortment of characters and vehicles to choose from. Anakin is the most balanced, and quite frankly, this is Darth Vader we're talking about. Why would you want to be anyone else? Managing your pod is half the fun, and aside from upgrading your ride at Wada's garage, you can also periodically check in on the status of your pod's cuts and bruises. Standard stuff, but in the essence of ticking off boxes, this racer had most of it down. There's a fair amount of stages divided into several tiers, and the challenge does escalate rather quickly. You can win the first 4 or 5 tracks by a landslide without upgrading your pod, and then soon find yourself getting absolutely destroyed by more difficult environments that force you to think on a dime and maneuver your craft with expediency. You will crash a lot until you play enough to know what obstacles are coming, or until you master the Force. What's critical is that you really got a sense of speed, a la F-Zero or the later Burnout. Keep in mind that one of the key marketing points of the film when it came out was the pod race, which showed on TV spots at least 1 million times. Yes, it was a fairly useless scene in that it really didn't advance the plot, but visually it was awesome and sort of mustered up old images of speeder bikes zooming through the forests of Endor. It was cool to watch, and Racer did that scene justice, making you feel like a pro at making the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs. For a late N64 title, the game was par for the visuals. The worlds were barren, yes, after all, these were racetracks, but they were compensated in variety. You had your snow, desert, swamp, and mechanical levels. Some of the latter stages did start to feel exceedingly drab, with a saturation of grays, often leaving you literally flying blind until you met your inevitable doom at the side of a hidden turnpike. But hey, that just meant you weren't heeding the wise words of Alec Guinness. Audio ran into the same hit-and-miss story. Despite the sound effects all faithfully cloning those of the films, who the hell was in charge of the music? You get an opening theme at the menu, also repeated during a paused game, but that's it. Forget the orchestral power of Johnny Williams when you're playing Star Wars Racer, because all you're hearing is the sound of a vacuum in deep space. Pitiful band. In any case, this is one of those obscure Star Wars games that's really not so bad, but flew lower on the radar when compared to PC hits like Jedi Knight, or critically acclaimed console adventures like Knights of the Old Republic. Stretch out with your feelings, and give it another shot.